That money budgeted.
Everyone hear
for a
us?
while To redesign that section. And then construction. Pavement 2025. Do that, we like this. Things above and beyond that level things.
Hey, Chris, can you hear us?
Yes, everything looks good, thanks.
It's on that section. There's only minus
Everybody's going here.
Yes, yeah, John.
That's okay, he still's got her.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, she's shocking.
I haven't seen her for a long time. She's hanging in there pretty good, huh?
Yes. She's trying to get her mother passed away.
Okay.
I like 100.
Which one I think, you know.
With James.
You know, what gets too tight, then I stop, I don't know.
I've been here 7 months and I want to improve my riverfront property, so move the highway.
Well, you got a sign here, I think.
We didn't like it, like it's fine.
Yeah.
You might have gone to the chairman of the
We have drainage ones through that.
Oh, my. Yeah, $7 is Minnesota.
Ready when you are.
No.
That's significantly, but not rerouting the highway. Can't get it done.
All right, it is 10 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order of July meeting of the Waupaca County Traffic Safety Commission. Roll call. Kim, we've taken down who's here. Open meeting statement. This meeting and all other meetings of this commission are open to the public. Proper notice has been posted and given to the press. in accordance with Wisconsin statutes so that citizens may be aware of the time, place, and agenda of this meeting. Before we go on to number 4, this is an open meeting. However, we're having it in the sheriff's office. So however, our front desk knows to, if any public comes in, they will welcome back here for that. And welcome everybody to the first meeting here in our new meeting room. Approve amend minutes from the previous meeting. Anybody have any amended minutes from the April meeting? First quarter of 2022. If there's no need to amend, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
I'll second it.
Got it? Okay. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor of approving the minutes, signify by saying aye.
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 Carried. Approve the agenda for this meeting. Any errors, anything we need to amend?
Captain makes a motion to approve.
Up in a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second it, Rick.
Rick, second it. Discussion? All those in favor of approving the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Carried. Next is public input. Anybody here for public input? Want to say anything?
Supervisor from Village of Fremont's here, just on a discussion that I have to talk about to see if
Okay.
the public arrived, but
We'll bring it up at that point. Good time for that.
Just
Okay.
let me know what your name is.
Bobby Marks, Bobbi Marks. I was under the impression a resident from the town of Fremont.
From the email you forwarded on to
From
me.
that email.
We'll still
We got
discuss,
the same email, so I
we'll
wanted
still
to
discuss
see
it when Casey's turn and
see if
so we can
they-
get back to her maybe with what's talked about. Any public online? Don't see anybody. Our report will be a little longer because there will be 2 or 3 parts to it. So this meeting, you all should have a copy of the stats for the second quarter in your packet.
move the chair so I can see this.
We're in a trial with this, Casey, so we might be mounting that on the wall, but we don't make that decision until we see if we use it. So, multiple ones, like at a stadium, we can do that. So what is up on the screen, I will go through them for everybody that cannot see the screen. The second quarter. So for April, property damage crashes 27, injury crashes 7. Number of people hurt 5, serious injury 1, minor injuries 3, possible 1, 2 fatalities in the month of April, 34 total crashes in April. More on the fatals after the numbers. May, 54 crashes, property damage, 13 injury crashes, and in those 13 injury crashes, we had 13 people hurt, 1 serious, 9 minor, 3 possible, with 1 fatality in the month of May. 67 total crashes for the month. June, 39 property damage crashes, 13 injury, 19 people hurt, 6 serious, 10 minor, 3 possible, 0 fatalities in the month of June, and 52 total crashes for June. Second quarter total numbers is 120 property damage crashes, 33 injury, 37 people hurt, 8 serious, 22 minor, 7 possible, 3 fatalities. 153 total crashes for the quarter, which is April, May, and June. Now, just so everybody's aware, April, May, and June, these numbers are different than when I give numbers for our monthly law enforcement committee. These are county-wise, including the cities. Unless I did the numbers wrong, that might be different. But, for this meeting, I try to include all. But so I guess halfway point, the 6-month numbers are 301 property damage crashes, 64 injury, 72 people hurt, 9 serious, 42 minor, 21 possible, 3 fatalities, 365 total crashes in Waupaca County to this point. Any questions on the number? So for the fatalities, we had the 2 in April. The first one was a 1-vehicle rollover on April 5th at 1:30 in the morning on Highway 10, near Highway 22 by Waupaca. The gentleman was hurt from Menominee Falls, a 60-year-old male. He was hurt, and I don't believe he ever left the hospital. He died 7 to 10 days later.
On the 11th.
So about a week later, that gentleman passed away. It is considered a fatality.
Keep going.
I believe he had a seatbelt on, alcohol related,
Okay.
and he had
Yeah.
other health issues
Sure.
that contributed to his
We
death.
do have indicated that the shoulder and the seatbelt, flat belt was on.
Okay.
So the second fatality in April was April 22nd at 2:30 in the afternoon. 1 vehicle crash, Highway 10 by Waupaca. What is that? The Highway F
Mhm.
off ramp, where a vehicle lost control. It was a couple in their 70s, I believe, lost control, went through a guardrail that separates the off ramp and Highway 10. Went through that. I think they took out a sign and then went down into the ditch, if you will, but a deep ditch. The driver from Plover, she was pronounced dead at the scene, a 75-year-old female. Don't believe alcohol or anything was involved. All we have is she lost control, and she did have her seatbelt on. Kathy, an autopsy wasn't done, correct?
No,
Third fatality of the year and of this quarter was May 25th at 5:13 in the morning. 1 vehicle rollover. We believe speed was a factor. Rolled over, was ejected from the vehicle, a 47-year-old male from Iowa. We don't believe alcohol.
no.
Believe he was going to work. Might have been running late, but we believe his vehicle was involved in a crash prior to this, maybe a week prior. And we believe he cut the airbag out from that crash to still drive his vehicle.
The seatbelt was in a locked position, so previous crash more than likely.
So that is, any questions that I can answer on the 3 fatalities to date?
Where did that last one occur?
Oh, I'm sorry, Highway 161, west of E. I don't think I said. But so the 3 fatalities are 1 vehicle crashes. Any questions with the numbers or anything like that? If not, Lieutenant Wiskursion is here. He is in charge of our grants, and he has some numbers for that. And I don't think you have this in your packet, so hopefully is that big enough?
So this is just a update in reference to the OWI Task Force grant that Waupaca County is participating in. This number hasn't changed. We got the $60,480 starting back in December. Updated overtime hours that we've used, 629 hours total regarding 27 deployments of 27 days that we've actually deployed the OWI Task Force. Total reimbursable amount right now is $33,421, so we're just over half. The participating agencies, again, have not changed. Waupaca County Sheriff's Office has utilized 455 hours, 92 from Waupaca, 57 through London, Waupaca PD 9, Clintonville 16. State troopers have participated in almost every deployment, and that does not count towards our grant. They operate off of a separate grant that piggybacks what we use. The straight match hours is kind of an update. We were required to match the 15,120 as of last month. We matched 20,000, so our match is met. We qualified for the grant. Everything is.
Explain the match a little bit better.
Basically, the match is a straight time requirement to guarantee the funding. So we're required to meet basically the $15,120 at 25% match. And we have successfully met that as of a month ago. We would have had until the end of the grant period to meet it. We met it halfway through the year. So that part is
So
safe.
the state or the federal gives us money, they want you to put some
Correct.
hours into the grant. We'll give you 60, you put in 15 then.
Correct.
Or you guys had the grant, I think it was like 3 years ago, I think you had 2 years, and there was a break, and now you have it, this is your initial year. Are you gonna push for it for 2023 as well?
That's my goal. Yes. This is my first year dealing with it, so I don't have the previous years behind that, but yeah, that would be.
Because then the troopers ask, because that's, we can't work ours unless we do it in conjunction with another agency. Right now, we have Waupaca and Sean running.
I know, I'll speak for the sheriff. He's, I think, a different meeting, but he's in favor of the grants. So if we're able or award them, we'll definitely do it.
You have to be, you don't really apply for grants, you have to be targeted,
Right.
meaning you have to have bad numbers. Well, and that's the bad part about it is, if you do the OWI grant for 5 years and you all but eradicate OWI issues, then you don't get the grant. Right. So it's a catch-22, but it's putting the money, where you need to, but I think the target was for 2 years, I think.
I was not aware of that. I was only aware for this year.
It's only a 1-year contract, but they usually do the targeting.
So we
Is this
might
your
be-
first year?
First year,
Yeah, usually they don't like a 1-year grant. They like to make sure that you get targeted for a couple of years, so there's a pretty good chance you're gonna next year.
Yeah, every time I've dealt with it, it's been 2 years consecutively.
They only award the 1 year at a time, but you're normally targeted for 2 or even.
So we can do that.
Plan on that. Continuing here, the total amount of traffic stops associated with that straight time and the overtime is 1,136. 555 traffic stops without action taken, which means no citation, no warning. Total citations 655, 108 seatbelt citations for child restraint, 175 speed, 28 OWI, 61 operating for vacation, suspension, or without a valid license, 13 open intoxicant citations, 24 registration, all other vehicle equipment, 6, and all other citation 236. 108 written warnings, 72 for speed, 1 for OAR, OAS, or OWL, 24 registration, ran equipment, all other 23. Total drug contacts 14, total felony contacts 9, misdemeanor contacts 13, and warrant contacts 8.
Any questions for Kyle?
I had a note that last time we talked about the match and that you couldn't use dispatch and what else was it? Mileage?
They had to, correct, mileage does not qualify for this grant. They had to be certified in field sobriety to qualify for this grant.
Mike Schwendow, who is my boss's boss.
Okay.
Has set a meeting with NHTSA and basically said, not for the minutes, but that's BS. Perfect. So, well, because you put that many people out there, you may have to dispatcher. If it's speed, you get it. If it's occupant protection, you get it.
And we have been utilizing extra dispatcher, which does not qualify for that match. So
I actually did give him your name.
Okay.
So if he calls you, and I can't think of her name from NHTSA. But if she calls and says she's NHTSA Region 5, that's why, because I said, this is ridiculous. They can't, I mean, why are we not doing this as match at least?
So if we put 3-4 extra people out just doing that much traffic, we need an extra.
Right, so it'd be nice to be able to do that, So if you hear something, that's why, because
I appreciate that.
I didn't know that. I didn't know you.
yeah, whether it's fun or even just to be able to count it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
If you could
Count
count
it,
it.
it'd be fine. Any questions on anything with my numbers report or Kyle's or anything you wanted to brought up, reference these? We'll move on. Well, Casey?
All right, good morning, everyone. I've got just 3 topics that I've got, and actually a 4th one that came in since we've had the meeting. So Mr. Chemnitz and I looked at a idea of a parking stall on County Highway X. We determined that it was not a good idea to put a handicap parking stall along the riverside of County Highway X between New London and basically Lisa's campground. There's a section in there where there's a big concrete fishing pier that was just poured in the river years ago. And the idea from Supervisor Bosquist was, is this a good spot to potentially put a handicap parking spot? And we determined, no, that would not be a good decision. So that kind of ends that conversation with the handicap parking stall there. And I responded a lot more formally back to Supervisor Bosquist on that, but that was kind of the sum of it. The second thing I had to talk about was the city of New London. I believe it was Chief had sent me an email asking to look at a complaint that they had received at the intersection on Main Street. Can't think of the name, but if we zoom into community maps, Todd, in the city of New London, intersection of, is it Beacon and must be Shano?
Could be.
But the request was, hey, there's some signage issues. Can you look into them? And so,
In the map or the community maps like this?
yep, into there. If you
Wood
zoom,
Street?
I'd have to go and touch. It'd be Main Street in London where it intersects.
North Water and Shano or North Water and Pearl? Or are we going out of town?
You're good. You have to go. I have to go over there and find it now. So here's Division Street. Turn, it would be this 4-way stop sign.
By the bowling alley? This way?
Beacon is right there by the,
Right here?
There's Beacon. There's Division Street that we just rebuilt. We turn on Beacon, and where's downtown?
up further.
Shano?
Yes.
Downtown is on North Water. It's on the other side of the river, Casey.
Are you talking Wolf River and Shawano? About the stop sign that's set back a ways for westbound? Or
We just changed it.
Eastbound?
We changed it. It said right turn, no stop, and we changed it and made it say traffic from right does not stop.
I
Okay,
think that's Wolf River and
That's Wolf River?
Shawano.
Yep.
Oh, right here.
So the only thing that I wouldn't want to change that stop sign, in my opinion. People have been, that's not the intersection. Let's go
Beacon and it's where the restaurant is right on the
where
corner.
the restaurant is on the corner.
Yeah.
So to the
Mill.
east?
Marley's Family Friendly Restaurant.
Beacon and
Beacon
Mill.
and Pearl. Beacon and Pearl.
A lot of close calls have been.
That's not where the restaurant is though.
Right here?
Is that Beacon? Beacon and Pearl?
So that's where the new stop sign is placed on Beacon Street. Right?
yeah, they used to be a right turn, no stop onto northbound Pearl, and now it's a 3-way stop.
Business 45 at Pearl. Is that the intersection you're talking about?
That's the intersection that I'm talking
Business
about.
45 at Pearl. Got it.
And I didn't take away stop signs and I didn't add stop signs. It used to say right turn, no stop. So I'm like, why would you approach a stop sign and tell people not to stop if they're taking a right? So instead, we replaced the placard under under the sign that says traffic from right does not stop, just to let you know that you have to stop and the traffic coming southbound does not have to. What the only weird thing that I think myself and Greg, my operations manager, sees that's kind of different is that intersection stop signals are different than if you were to go to the east in Outagamie County. There it says right turn, no stop. So you got 2 intersections in the same city, both placarded a little bit different. We might want to look at changing the one in Outagamie County to match ours, if that's an option. And I would probably have to talk to Commissioner Steingraber about having it mirror so that in one intersection, it's different. You go down a couple blocks and then it's a different way. So trying to get into the uniform, but if we bring up the amount of incidents that have occurred there, I mean, I don't think there's enough to warrant stop signals or, stop and go lights.
No,
Or adding a four-way stop sign. It was just, what can we do to reduce the amount of potential accidents that are there? And that's maybe make the one in Outagamie County uniform with the one in Waupaca County, so that they both treat them the same, maybe.
or change that one that you changed back, because there were never really any incidents there at all that I'm aware of in 29 years. I don't remember ever having a problem there.
Got an injury, this is for the last year and a half, had one November of last year, injury. Well, that's it. Back quite a ways.
So if we change that placard back, that's a simple fix. But that would be the one in Waupaca County that we have that says right turn, no stop. Everything else has been changed in the county to say traffic from right does not stop. Like in the village of Scandinavia. I mean, there's,
Well, they have the one in Iola, has that been changed?
that one has not.
What's right? Continue north on 49.
Right, that's right turn. Fremont has one turn on the Wolf River Drive, that's left turn.
Sure.
No stop.
Same thing coming from the other direction.
Yeah, they have one. Yeah, a different sign.
So I don't want to change it without the village's support or village's recommendation, because you're seeing it a lot more often than I am. And I just leave well enough alone, or is a change needed?
I'm gonna take a look at it, put a traffic engineering eye to it if you want.
Yeah, if you want to help, maybe look at that with me, Tony. But when we changed just the placard underneath the old stop sign, it blew up like a million Facebook posts as to how the commissioner is stupid.
Life in public service, my friend.
Yeah. All right. The third thing I had to talk about was the speed zone in Royalton. So on County Highway B, north of 54 in Royalton, the town of Royalton received a request from a resident that lives on the curve as you're just going north out of the little village portion, to extend the speed limit zone. And so we did do that. We extended the 35-mile-an-hour speed limit zone in Royalton about 0.2 miles. And it is justified in my opinion. You want to put it on the satellite?
I can.
Please. And then if you're in Royalton and you're heading northbound on County Highway B, you go through the village and then the next curve here, right here, the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit started and stopped right here. We've extended it to include this curve. There's been, I think, 5 new driveways that have been added in this area in the last 20 years. And so we feel that it's warranted to extend the 35-mile-an-hour speed limit. You see a lot of, I would say, Stearns traffic coming southbound to go home or go to work, coming, and by the time they get around that curve, they start slowing. So we got them actually slowing as they come through that curve.
Is it in the township or in the village? Township. Yeah, then it qualifies.
So to add on to that also, we actually have had one of our radar trailers on scene there for quite some time now. I don't have current numbers on it. I know you're bringing that up and talking about that, but we have had extra patrols there due to the numbers we've been seeing on the radars.
Okay.
So why the numbers are higher than what you want?
So it was the average, and again, when did this sign change?
The county ordinance was passed last month, I believe.
So,
and then I don't know if we've changed the sign yet
I
today.
don't think
okay,
you have.
that's the thing is, yeah, so the last time I looked at this, it was actually, again, it was another reminder sent out to the guys saying, hey, spend some time here. This is the problem here. We had cars coming through there 60, 70 miles an hour and 35. So
We're gonna try to slow them a little bit earlier.
correct.
And our reasoning was driveway spacing.
I know the sheriff's office, Royalton's been extra patrol since I've started here.
Right.
We have, for years, we've done that and 54 in here. That's all it's been.
So you like more data or anything, reach out.
If it's county highway B, it's like Casey's court.
Okay.
The only thing that I've done where I've had lack of speed limits, at first sign, you can oversize that one. And then the reduced speed ahead sign, you can put, you know, a yellow strip on the post and orange safety flags above it to try and tell people, hey, you're coming into a speed zone, here it is.
Yeah.
And beyond that, it's getting a your speed is sign, which those are effective. But those are $4,500 a piece. So.
Good ideas.
Well, we can maybe coordinate with us, once it's signed, put one of our trailers out there in that new area.
We did it with the support of the town of Royalton. They sent a request in. I wouldn't just do it without them.
Cause I think your speed trailer is still where that old sign was, cause I drive it a lot. And I didn't realize that it would change to be before that corner.
It's going to change if they haven't done it already. I met with the sign crew. That's all I've got. Except we received just a public email request. A new resident of the town of Fremont lives on County Highway H, south of 10 along the river. Commented on a recent nighttime pedestrian hit and said that there's a lot of accidents on Highway H. They've lived there since October of 2021 and want to see the speed limit reduced to 15 miles an hour and then move the highway behind all the houses to give better front property to all of the residents. And I responded back with, thank you for bringing up your concerns. If you'd had some time to attend this meeting, you'd probably have the right audience beyond just highway commissioner. And I said, I do believe relocating H in the near future is a bit far-fetched. But again, that's only my thoughts. I'll take it to the Traffic Safety Committee today at 10 a.m. And share your concerns. If there's anything more than that, but they asked for additional patrol if possible. And
So H, what you're seeing on the map is Tustin Road. H is right here. And it follows the river until we get to Winnebago County. Which is just at that line. 35, 25, closer in the village, I think.
Actually, it changes just before the new bridge overpass to 25 as you're going into Fremont. So it's 35, probably almost, not quite to the town of,
What's the driveway spacing? You say it's like 150 feet of driveway. A lot of houses along the
A lot of
road.
As you get closer to Fremont.
Yeah, I
there's
mean,
quite a
that
few.
definitely qualifies as a 35.
I mean, yeah. But it's 35, I think, all the way almost
And they want it.
to Winnebago.
Then after you get past Gate, doesn't it? It goes up a little bit.
There aren't any traffic
Signs.
signs, and actually, my vehicle tells you what the speed limit is, and it's blank.
Probably 55.
So it's probably,
Probably want to be at the county, probably the county.
Yeah, change, I'm sure it does. So Casey forwarded me the email from the residents down there. And a sergeant of mine responsible for our speed trailer and another speed sign, I let her know a couple days ago, and we're gonna get one of our speed trailers down there. I thought it'd be down there before today, before this meeting. It's not, she worked last night, must not have had time to get it there last night. But it is on the radar. It should be there. Well, she works tonight, so hopefully it'll be there today. So, but we'll start with a speed trailer. And then we can do extra patrol down there too. Now, the dots you are seeing are from January 2015 through June of this year. Now, I know the email was a lot of potential crashes or almost
she also mentioned heavy,
pedestrian.
no, truck, big trucks and stuff, and there isn't any weight limits on those roads. I mean, I don't know what there are in the spring when frost is coming out of the ground, but otherwise, I don't know what she's referring to.
How else would you get down
Well, you have to go, I mean, there's businesses down there that, I mean, so a food truck or a beer, beverage trucks and stuff. like
49,
that.
then over on, I don't even know, probably another county highway.
Yeah, it's,
I know there's.
double H and I,
But
but it's, I don't see that there's a lot.
There used to be quite a bit of heavy farm traffic from some of the larger farms down there when I used to work in the village, but I don't know. if that's
There aren't-
continued.
No.
So.
I do have a construction project there replacing the pavement in the year 2025, I believe, 24, 25. So we will be replacing the pavement. We'll do an engineering study before that to help us with that. And if we want to do any additional things, that'd be the time to address it with that. I don't want to stick a lot of any money into anything until that construction year comes up. That's all I got.
I guess in the meantime, at least for the sheriff's office in the county, we'll put extra officers down there, let them all know, and we'll try some speed sign. Any questions or comments for Casey? Or any of the topics?
Is there any thought, Casey, on any updates on 110 on Waupaca? I don't hear a ton of comments, but quite often, probably 1 or 2 times a month, I hear about the condition of 110 coming into town. Is that?
I'll refer to the state on that because I get it all the time too.
I don't have any updates.
No.
I can find out and I can get you information back as far as.
And the concern that I hear, and not that it's even my jurisdiction, but it comes into our community, is oftentimes there's cars that are operating left of center to avoid the rough pavement. I know there was some patchwork done, but they tend to use the good portion of the road the best they can, and it oftentimes creates traffic hazards.
Let me see where it is in the program.
I believe 2025.
Was it in there?
Yeah, it's gonna happen in the near future.
Oh,
Well, there's your answer. 'Cause
Okay.
that's what I bring in.
I know that since I've been on this committee, that 110 from one county line to the other county line has been discussed continuously,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes, yes. I hear about it too.
Triple digit number of roads.
Anything, anything else for county highway commissioner? The next on my list is Becky Rickle. I don't see her. Medical examiner, Kathy?
All right, just to talk about the same fatalities, the one gentleman from Tenon by Fleet Farm. I wasn't able to get any blood samples from him because the length of time that he was at the hospital was greater than the time that they usually keep the blood. So any blood had already been disposed of, but I do believe that they had a PBT on them. And I believe that they had blood samples that the police officers were gonna take in for testing. So I don't have any results on that. But he had cancer, so he was on hospice for that. But because he also had the injuries made his death sooner than what was expected. And then the 22nd was the female from Clover. There was no drugs or alcohol in her. She wasn't in her seatbelt, just believed that she died of head injuries and believe that she fell asleep. And then the one on 161, because he didn't have his seatbelt on, it was inoperable, and there was no drugs or alcohol with him either. So I have.
Any questions for comments for Kathy? Before going any further, for those that maybe haven't been in this part of the building or at all, restrooms are just out the 2 doors here and directly to your left on your left. District Attorney, I don't see anywhere. Mr. Chemnitz. I can.
I'll give
You are the PowerPoint?
I
Nope,
think
that's
you've
mine.
got it right.
Oh, okay.
That one there. There you go. Cool, fancy with color and everything, Tony.
I just copy them from one meeting to the next. So it looks fancier than it is.
So this isn't a PowerPoint, okay.
No, it's a PDF. So I'll cover again the status of the DOT's construction projects in Waupaca County in 2022. Talk about some operational safety reviews, and then if there's any other items that anyone wants to bring up relative to highway concerns on our state system in the county. Next one. First project that we talked about last time, it hasn't started. They delayed this Highway Double B bridge over at the Little Wolf River. It'll be a complete replacement removal. There is a detour plan. As you can see down there, the detour is double B to 54 to Wisconsin 110 to O. Construction is slated for late summer. Not even certain the pre-con's been held yet with Radke. They've got this bridge and the next one as well. The next bridge is also, well, it's on County Highway B, not Double B. That's over a south branch of the Little Wolf River. They're going to remove that old structure, replace that, replace the guardrail with current standards. They're going to regrade the intersection at G and B, those approaches as well. You can see there is a detour. It's a little more significant. Again, late summer, it's the same contractor that we do it at the same time. Project we have that we can talk about that's actually underway. They just had the pre-con for that. I talked to Tyler Rutson, our consultant that's managing the project. They just had that pre-con. He gave me a tentative construction schedule that's listed there for Northeast Asphalt. This project is a 4.5 mile paving resurfacing job, similar to what you've seen in the past. Yes. Removing the sidewalk and curbing right now is underway. There'll be new curb ramps in town, and then they'll be building the asphalt in August, and then resurfacing the roadway. That new asphalt man down. And then in late August, early September, a job actually wraps up. It's a quick burn. They'll shoulder gravel, the pavement marking down. As far as traffic control, what motorists can expect to see are single lane closures with flagging during working hours. Our list information is provided via the 511wi.gov. That's our website that gives the public access to information on construction projects the state has in their area. Provides an overview of schedule, discusses traffic notes traffic impacts. And if there was any virtual meetings, there are links to those for the public to view. A map is provided as well as contact information with our construction staff. As far as operational and safety reviews, I have a few things to go over for the commission today. 110 and Northeast Street, I'm having a staffing issue and I don't have people to get on that to really work on it right now. So I'm going to have to take it in my workload. And I won't be able to get to that. I was going to maybe go out today, but I'll have to be next week to do some data collection, measure the site distance at the intersection there. And then it should actually say, I'm sorry, US 45 in Northeast 7th Swamp Road. We'll collect speed data out there. There was an uptick in crashes. I believe in 21, there was 5 crashes. Before that, there was 3, and then it kind of tapered down. So we're not real certain why there's all of a sudden a jump in crashes there. If the volume's picked up on the side road or what's going on. So we'll take a look at the ISD intersection site distance, see what the travel speeds are. My guess is people are probably coming in hot on that divided section of road. That might be part of the issue. We also completed our annual safety screening. We take a look at the most current 5-year set of data, and our most current 5-year set of data we're working with now is 16 to 20. We identify the top 40 crash locations. We call them sites of promise for potential safety improvements. Those are listed there. 54 and D in New London, Highway 45, and I think it's Camelius Lane in Clintonville, and then on Fulton Street here in Waupaca at Joanne Lane, and then also at Harbor Drive.
Who's 54 mean?
That's
54 and D is
it's a signal by the Quick Trip on the
Oh,
north.
okay. That's, didn't realize it was D there.
54 and D, there it is. That's a crash plot. So what we do as part of this data scan is we pull all the crash reports for that 5-year period, we plot them, and we try to overlay them on top of each other to see, is there a crash trend? There was 27 crashes in that intersection, 6 injury crashes. Primary crash type is a rear end, which is what we typically see in signalized intersections. Could be related to the timing interval. Talk to the signal engineer about that.
there is a resurfacing project coming up, and this intersection will be reevaluated as part of our safety scan with that, and then we may take a look at making potential improvements to that intersection as part of that project, since it flags as a safety site. So that's the next one I took a look at was by the new coffee shop and the gas station at Camilla Avenue and 45 in Clintonville. Undivided 4-lane roadway, and it suffers what most undivided 4-lane roadways has crashes that are related to rear ends due to slowing and stopping and left turning traffic. The only reason the intersection pings out is because there's enough crashes to either side of it that are not intersection related that it kind of tied that way. So 13 of the 16 crashes that were noted, they were actually not in that intersection. Like I said, I did note there is a new coffee shop in the corner. The driveway in and out of it is like right at the radius return. It's kind of close. If it was our road, we wouldn't let that happen. We'd fight it pretty hard. It is a local road, so I'll work with the local director of public works, share this information with them. If there's any low cost signing or marking changes, we try to do those first to try to address a crash trend, get some relief. Beyond that, it's really an access control issue that would have to be addressed. Next one here in Waupaca on Fulton Street and Joanne Lane. I did talk to Justin Barron's, the Public Works Director here. I'll be sending some information along to him on this as well as the other intersection. Fulton Street has a lot of access to it. It's a major shopping complex in that area. There was a lot of angle crashes in that location and enough injuries that it flagged out as I promised. So we're taking a look at that. Again, access control is probably the primary thing that needs to be addressed. I know that I've worked on different projects in that corridor, both at the state and as a consultant before I came here. Like they retimed the light at the McDonald's. They're looking at moving access points. It's a right out only out of the pick and save, but some people still try to go straight. If you look at the crash plot, those are some of the crashes. So do you really consider those valid? I don't know. So, and then the next one is Harvard Drive. Again, issues there with people going straight at the pick and save access instead of turning right like they're supposed to. So we did take a look at that as well. With that, I guess I'd open it up if any has any other items relative to the state highway system. I have enough placards up there for you.
I just had a comment, Tony, that when you do talk to the Clintonville Public Works Director,
Sure.
please include the city administrator, Kaz Muskie. She used to be the superintendent of the roads,
Okay.
but she's now our administrator. You'll find her very welcoming and good to work with.
Yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'll put together a safety summary memo, with photos and then
Sure.
crash plots, and then what our investigation showed in the field. So,
Any other questions or comments for Tony? Next on the list is Mr. McClone.
Nothing to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Keppen.
Well, it is the middle of July and the days are considerably shorter already, and it's time to get your snowboard.
Who invited him?
That is not what we were looking for.
Let the truth be said. No, as I begin my 24th year here, it's that time of the year where we start talking budgets for next year. It's the same old concern every year. And so we've got some concerns about the 2023 budget, and our finance department is already working on it with ideas, working with Heidi Dombrowski, our finance director. So that's work in progress. Other than that, everything is okay here. We're in business as usual, and we're here to serve. Thank you.
Any questions, comments for the county board chair? Not? Mr. Oleg, I am to you.
Mine is fairly short.
We do have a PowerPoint. Find my little button.
Because you have to meet your term.
No, I just don't have a lot this time. No, I got, can either do the whatever, 1:30 or the 3. So Statewide numbers as of yesterday, 281 fatalities that are reported. That number is actually low because that's based on the MDFR and not everybody sends that in. Compared to 261 last year at the same time, which is pretty much a hard number. So that's after the reports are in. So we're up significantly, and I know there were at least 2 more last night. So these we had looked at. This one here, I think, was the one on the 22nd. The first one was involved a deer swerving, right?
By
Correct.
fleet, yeah.
Yep. So I didn't look at the engineering or the number of crashes there. Here, this is the second crash on the 22nd. This was the older person.
Yeah, on 10 by Waupaca.
Yep. In that section, there was 15 crashes, this one fatality. When I took a cursory look at them, none of them really jumped out and said the same thing has happened multiple times before. And that's usually what we kind of look for. Next one. Same thing with this. The one on 161, there were 3 crashes. The first one, they lost control in the rain and hit some trees. The second one, speed, lost control, and the driver was ejected. That was the fatal. And then the third one, which was ironically like 2 weeks later, swerved to avoid a deer and struck a boulder, and there was also alcohol involved. So those are the only 3 that were in that area of 161. Next one. They're making some changes to community maps, adding some more flags again. It is not in production, so you can't see it yet. One thing is the ATV flag. We currently, I believe, have last year's ATV crashes in there. All ATV crashes, so the DNR reports are in there. But you can't see the report, but you can see where it was and you get a number.
Okay.
We're working on getting it so it'll be same as a crash report. We can click on it and actually see the report. And those for the DNR would only be fatals because everything else is a self-report. Is that correct? A plain ATV crash on a trail, if it's not a fatality, then it's a self-report. Correct. Yep. So that those are not in there. Helmet flag, we talked about that was removed from occupant protection. So there'll be a separate flag just for helmets. Another one, if you want to look at just intersection crashes. And then lane departure, and we're working on the wording for that. Lane departure M means it involves multiple vehicles, side swipe or left to center type. And then the lane departure S is a single vehicle, meaning they went off the roadway and hit something. I think that's something you guys look at a lot, Tony, right? Is lane departure. So again, we look at community maps and try to have it jump up before it gets that far, before the, then they added a flag for any crashes involving a school bus. And then the last one we'll talk about is aggressive driving. I mean, there isn't really a statute for aggressive driving. It's reckless. And the question came up is, what do you classify as aggressive? And even though, okay, on the crash report, there was one that involved speed that we talked about, one of the fatals. The crash report simply says speed. Well, speed is also too fast for conditions. So if it's a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit and they're going 25 and it's snowing, that's too fast for conditions. But is that aggressive? So the question came up is, how do we classify what's aggressive? So what they came up with, and trust me, these are people that know more than I do, but of the list of things that would be considered aggressive or part of aggressive, if there is a mark that says operating motor vehicle in an aggressive, reckless manner, that's automatically. If they see that on the crash report, that'll show up if you flag aggressive. The second tier, which requires 2 or more to classify it as aggressive. So you can tell there's some guy behind the scene that's saying, if this, do this, if this, then this. Okay. The second one is if it involves 2 of these: exceeding the speed limit, too fast for conditions, following too close, improper overtaking, passing left or passing right, or operating a vehicle in an inattentive, careless, or erratic manner. So 2 of those would flag it as aggressive. And I think if you throw any 2 of those together, I would say, you're speeding and overtaking on the right, or if you're speeding and following too close and now there's a crash, And then the third one would be one of the ones we just talked about, and two of these, or three of these total. Fail yield right away, failure to have control, disregarding a traffic control light, disregarding other traffic control, disregarding other road markings. So you'd have to do three things for it to jump up to be aggressive.
They'll do that automatically.
It'll automatically happen, right? We kind of did a cursory, like randomly looked at which ones would come up at that. And out of, I think I did 20 some, and Randy and we each did. So out of roughly 100, we found one that we wouldn't fit into that category that would flag as aggressive. So it should give us a better indication of where the aggressive, issues are. Because if you're doing, 2 or 3 of those things, I mean, you're being naughty. So, next one, upcoming dates, drive sober, get pulled over is coming up Labor Day weekend. And then after that is the Child Passenger Safety Week in September. Governor's Conference is August 29th through the 31st. The 29th is the pre-con date. On the 29th, there is Wise Grants training, so I don't know if you have anybody that needs it. There's 2 sessions. I kind of wish they'd have done it during the thing, but they did have, there's one in the morning and one in the afternoon on Monday. So if you're gonna attend the conference anyway, at least you're not using a full third day. And it's a $50 flat fee for it, which we're trying to get people back in. And my understanding is, unless you've heard, there's no remote option from what I've heard. I think it's all in person.
So they're not offering the Wise Grant training remote anymore?
No, the conference. Okay, conference. At least my understanding is they were not gonna do that. The Wise Grants training, I actually think they're going to record it. And I think they were talking about a YouTube video. But it is a nice time of the day. Speed Awareness Day coming up July 27th. All agencies should have got a letter from the State Patrol, an emailed letter asking them to be part of it. DRE school, the deadline is tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow, and there are a couple openings yet. My understanding is that the State Patrol is going to try and add some troopers in there, and I believe next year they're even talking about a class just for the State Patrol. Because
Above my pay grade.
you have a bunch of counties where you don't have a lot of DREs. Okay, that's what it was, something about the Northwest.
We don't have a lot of North Central either.
Oh,
Because
that- maybe that
DPT
was
was hired and Moyer transferred down to Valley, so.
Yep, so, next one, I think that might be about it, yep. That is all, unless there's questions. If you don't have access to community maps and you want it, shoot me an email. I don't live that far away, so I can come over and do some training. I tried doing it virtually, but for me, that just isn't as easy as, coming in here and going through it and having you do it. Because everything is in there, so. That's all I have, sir.
Any questions or comments for Rick?
Captain, I did have a
Yes.
question. When you say on a fatality, alcohol was involved, are you saying he or she was over the limit or just had the alcohol in them? Is
I
that,
get that statement, we detected an amount, any amount.
But routinely, it's,
A contributing factor.
yeah, it's a factor of some sort, or, yeah.
okay,
They're not had a beer 22 hours ago and now they're driving and they can smell it. It's,
sure, thank you.
Sergeant Pedersen, State Patrol.
Not a lot, just that Speed Awareness Day, we are participating with that, so Paul will be out. I think Burdick is coming up for a TRU assignment. Sean will be out as well, so that's gonna be statewide. We're gonna be hammering that day. Just good. As far as
What was that for?
that's for that Speed Awareness Day, July 27th. As far as staffing right now, everybody knows that Kendi is no longer in Waupaca County. She's an inspector over in Winnebago. We're hoping that they open that transfer spot up and she can come back here. We did have the troop filled, but Henry Glick got promoted to sergeant in Fond du Lac County, so he's gone. Sarah Burdick is on a temporary assignment for at least 3 months right now with our reconstruction unit. So we're down to Mr. Pullman, 436, and then myself when I'm in the area. So we're short on that one. We're hoping that transfers will open in the fall again, so we can get Henry spot filled. And then obviously if Sarah ever ends up going to the TRU permanently, then we'll do that to transfer search people that want to come here. So that will be filled quick. But yeah, other than that, now we're just pushing forward. I'll be assigning more individuals for the 23rd and the 30th coming up to that OWI task force. So,
The state patrol doing a speed on 45 with a plane.
yeah,
This week?
that is coming up. I think that's tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow, 11 to 3. Yep. Up on 45. So. And people often wonder why we advertise it. Well, we're not trying to be secretive about it. But I think the last time we did it was 2 years ago up there, because it's like fishing, you can work it through and then nothing ever happens. The last time we did it in 4 hours, I think we had 44 traffic stops. They were flying, top speeds were in the 90s.
Thanks for the warning. I appreciate
Yeah. for-
I doubt you'll be in the 90s though.
Yeah.
No, that's my age.
That's what I'm saying.
My age.
Any comments or questions for state patrol? All right. Chris Gregory, New London PD. Anything, Chris?
Yes, I just wanted to revisit with Casey about the intersection that you talked about. If you want to stop back over, we can go over the intersections and see what you can do for signing.
Tony, you at some point said you might help us look at that.
I can do it today.
You want to do it today?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, way back, I'm sure it was just to prevent any stoppages at the intersections for Highway 45 when they went through New London. And yeah, I guess we could just talk about it later. That'd be great. What time are you thinking?
Once we leave here? I would say within the next 45 minutes.
That sounds great.
We'll stop by your office.
Okay, wonderful.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Chief, Waupaca PD. All right. Mr. Will? Anything?
Sure. Just to introduce myself, Kevin Will, I'm the new chairman for law enforcement. It's my third term actually on the county board. And I have to say, when Pat Craig told me this is one of her favorite meetings and most informative meetings, really looking forward to it, I have to agree with her. This is really insightful. It fills in a lot of things that you kind of think about but never know about on that. So I'm thankful to be the chair and be able to participate in this committee.
Thanks for being here.
We thank Kevin for being on the county board. He's done a great job. He's a Waupaca County employee, retired a number of years, working the HHS. So he came back home to serve the public, and you did before.
Kim, do we have a date for our third quarter meeting? I'll stick around with the maps up or numbers up. If anybody on the committee or the public wants to ask questions more specifically, I'll stick around until everybody's gone.
October 13th.
October 13th. Same place, same time, 10 a.m. Does this room work out okay for everybody?
Beautiful. This is nice.
Okay. I will take, maybe coffee, because Tony gonna need coffee. And a
I
cookie.
totally know, just so you know.
I will take a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
And do I have a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed and carried. We are adjourned.
Captain.
Yes.
Great, can participate anymore?